I appreciate the opportunity to be here today to talk with you about what is a very important industry here in Nebraska. You know, we have a great state here in Nebraska. We have a great state because we have great people. Nebraskans are engaged in their communities, in their schools, in their churches, to really make us a better state. And you all here today are helping to do that as well. So I know we've got folks that are not just from Nebraska today, but I appreciate everybody who came here together to talk about what we can do to grow and expand this ethanol industry here in Nebraska. And it's an important industry here in Nebraska. Obviously, Nebraska is the #1 producer of ethanol. And we really have a unique combination here in Nebraska that really allows us to be successful. You know, some have called it that golden triangle, where we have the corn, we have the cattle, we have the ethanol. And the ethanol and the byproducts thereof help feed our cattle. And we've got the corn that helps provide the ethanol plant. So we've really got a synergistic group of industries here that really help promote and grow Nebraska. Our 24 ethanol plants produce 1.8 billion gallons of ethanol. And that creates 1,300 direct jobs, supports thousands of other jobs on top of that. And a study that was just released this week talked about $5 billion in economic activity that is created right here in Nebraska because of the ethanol industry. It creates almost $120 million of take-home pay. And the other key thing about the ethanol industry, it's not just growing Omaha or Lincoln. Because we can't be a healthy state if we grow just Omaha or Lincoln. We have to grow the entire state. And we have ethanol plants across the entire state, creating jobs that pay well above your average pay in Nebraska. So thank you all very much for coming here together today to talk about how we can continue to grow this important industry here today. And I think you're also going to be talking about the renewable fuel standard, which I'm pleased to see will be talked about as well. Now, and then also I see Paul Kenny is here, who is also on my ag advisory team, who is with Kappa Ethanol. So Paul, thank you very much for being here and for being a great part of my team, my ag advisory team, that was with me during my campaign and has graciously agreed to stay together to continue to help advise me on ag policy issues as we go forward. Now, a few weeks ago, we had my governor's ag conference, my inaugural one, though it's the 27th year we've been doing it. And at that conference, something very key happened. The Omaha Chamber released a study talking about how we have the opportunity in Nebraska, and more particularly here in the greater Omaha area, of creating an agribusiness hub focused on food, water, and biochemicals. And that we need to capitalize on these strengths that we have to be able to build that out. And I think when we're talking about those, I think about the facility just up northwest in Blair, where you've got Cargill, you've got Novozyme. Novozyme made a $200 million investment. You got Evonik, a German company. So we're able to draw in companies, not only from around the country, but from around the world to come here. And we need to take that momentum and build upon it to continue to grow. And as part of that, I'm here today to announce that we've got the first overseas trade mission that we're planning. We're planning on going June 7th through the 15th to Denmark, Belgium, and Italy. We're taking both the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Economic Development. We're going to be able to highlight Nebraska agricultural products as well as manufacturing products. And in particular, talk with companies like Novozyme, who we would like to see expand further here in Nebraska. So we're going to work on opening up new relationships and building on old ones. Trade with Europe is important for Nebraska. It generates about $500 million a year. And it's particularly, this trade mission right now is particularly important because we're talking about the transatlantic trade and investment partnership that's being negotiated right now. And certainly things such as non-tariff barriers, such as beef quotas or biotechnology, prevent our ability to be able to grow those relationships with Europe and increase trade. So this trade mission will help us be able to understand more what's going on in Europe, be able to help expand that $500 million that we're already doing right now with Europe, and build on some of those things. You know, for instance, the beef industry is about $137 million of that. soybeans and other products like that are another 187 million. So we've got lots of opportunity to be able to grow that. So I'm excited that we're able to announce here today that that's going to be our first trade mission. And my goal is to be able to take it so that we do 2 trade missions a year. You know, under the previous administration, over the course of that administration, they did about 12. So we're going to take up the pace of that, because I believe that the opportunities overseas to open up doors for our producers and manufacturers here in the state is going to be huge. And of course, we want to be able to capitalize on that agribusiness hub that we've already got started here, to be able to grow more of that and bring those companies from Europe over here to help create jobs and stimulate our economy. So I'm very, very excited about that. And again, we're talking about industries that play right into what we're doing with the ethanol industry as well. That Cargill plant is really key for why Novozyme, for instance, is located there. So I'm excited to build on that great momentum and be able to continue to grow this great state of Nebraska. I very much appreciate all the wonderful work you're doing here today and all the work you've done to help us grow the state of Nebraska, to be able to create jobs that will help keep our kids and grandkids here, help attract people from across the country to come here and make Nebraska their home, and help make better futures for the children in Nebraska, which at the end of the day is what it's all about. So thank you all very much again. I very much appreciate it, and have a great conference here.